hunting. Today it's a very controversial subject. You've got pro and anti. But in the Viking Age, you couldn't nip down to your local supermarket or corner shop. You had to go out and get your own food. And today the duck there is relatively safe. Different matter in the Viking Age. So what kind of things would they have hunted? Well, it's a lot more varied than today. Oh, the duck's taken off. It's a lot more varied than today. And probably a lot more dangerous. People go out shooting today, they shoot ducks, pigeons, rabbits, etc. We didn't have rabbits in those days. We had ducks, yes. We also had things like wild boar. Delicious but very, very dangerous. Deer. Again, you don't want to corner a stag when all you've got is a spear, because you can get injured. Another thing that people forget is that we had wild cats. I'm not saying they ate them, you'd be surprised if they did, but these were fierce. Don't forget about little Ginger Tom you've got. Think of him about twice the size and with a massive attitude. I've seen him in the zoo, and believe you me, you don't want to meet them. So what else? Well, yes, you've got your pigeons, they'll have those. Hares, that's something as well that we don't see much of around here. But food is food. And one of the strange things is, when I was a student, we found a midden heap, rubbish heap, and in there was a badger's skull which had shown signs of somebody trying to eat it. So again, certain things they didn't eat, like crows and rooks, because they were sacred to Odin. But apart from that, you ate what you could, because not only have you got to find your food, most people had tapeworms, and they had a particularly virulent kind of worm called a curus, and that would burrow its way through your liver, come out your eyes, ears, nose, and various other parts of the anatomy not mentioned before 5 o'clock. But everyone had them, and that's due to drinking polluted water. Hence you get a lot of ale, mead, cider and perry. And because the water wasn't really that safe to drink, whereas if you boil it, we know today that kills off the parasites and eggs. But they didn't know about that, they just knew you boiled it and that was it. But food is, this is before the Normans and their game laws, which caused a lot of problems for the average person. You had common land where you could go, you could catch whatever's on there. There weren't pheasants, because they didn't come until the Crusaders went out to the Holy Land and brought them back. But what was there on the common land, you helped yourself, and seemed to do okay. They also had things like cattle, but that would be around winter time when you had to kill off those you couldn't afford to keep. Hence Christmas feast, Yule time, things like that. Today, we'd think they'd eat a heck of a lot. They'd eat at least 3 times what we would eat, and be about a third the weight, because it's like 1 for me, 1 for the tapeworm, 1 for the Ecurus, 1 for me. So you're feeding tapeworms, and you're talking about 23 foot or so of tapeworm on average. And eventually, when you went to the lavatory, you would pass bits of the worm and find the head. Third world countries still have this problem, and it weakens your system. It's not good for you, trust me. There are stories about models in the 60s having a tapeworm, making sure they lost weight to get the very thin look. Not advisable. Your body's not supposed to have that sort of thing. So, yeah, diet, very important. And as I say, they would eat a lot more than you or I would think normal. I keep hearing noises, excuse me. I don't know what Bragi's doing, but he seems to be having fun. But, yeah, so there you go. Anyway, That's all I've got to say at the moment.